It may not be obvious to you, at all, but I really love J.K. Rowling's Wizarding World. Harry Potter, Fantastic Beasts, I love it all. And this is a slightly different video I have for you today. Don't worry, it's not going to be too, geeky, just in case you're not into that stuff. It's more about something that fits more in with this channel. We're going to be talking about this guy, Mr. Newt Scamander. Let me put him back on my thing though, because, yeah, it's a complete set and I don't like it being... Ooh. I love how just me holding this Elder Wand is probably setting off people who have watched my channel for a while. If you watched it right from the beginning, you'll be seeing this one going, oh, I'm gonna put up. Don't worry, don't you worry, I have a little treat for you. When I saw the first Fantastic Beasts film, I thought, I see something there with Newt. I recognise something within him. Well, I'd actually recently been diagnosed, so I didn't actually have a massively good knowledge on autism. I just saw a lot of myself in Newt. It hadn't occurred to me, oh, Newt might be autistic. Whereas when I was sat there last Wednesday watching The Crimes of Grindelwald, I am saying Grindelwald because it sounds better, Grindelwald, and that's how he would say it, so Grindelwald. I do have I have two Grindelwalds, actually. I have him being transformed from Percival Graves. This is a really rare one. And I also have him on the carriage thing. I have a lot better knowledge on autism this time round. I was watching Newt, all I could think about was, he's autistic. I thought I was alone in this theory. However, over the last week, it appears that every man and his dog is talking about it. Eddie Redmayne actually did an interview, the person who plays Newt, stating that he believes he's on the autistic spectrum. My friend James, who writes a blog, he wrote a post about it. I was like, cheers. Yep. I'll link to that, though. I've avoided reading it because I want to make my own video, and then I'll read it. Yeah, anyway. Newt is littered with so many traits, and I'll just list a few. So, I think the first thing that you notice about Newt, he doesn't hold very much eye contact with people. He has a massive interest in beasts, animals. He gets along with them a lot better. He can understand them a lot better. He finds they're more on his wavelength. There's a bit in the first film where I would insert clips, but I don't know how to do all that. When Newt says to Jacob, "People really like you, don't they?" And Jacob says back to him, "Well, don't people like you?" And he says, "Not really. People find me annoying." Story of my life, Newt. Story of my life. You can just see he's generally a bit awkward with the way he moves and stuff. Like, there's a scene at the beginning where he's walking down a road in New York. So many things, people walking in front of him, behind him. He's not aware of that. He's just in his own little world, walking forward. That's a beautiful scene, actually. From what I've listed alone, there's probably some more in the first film, but those are a few off the top of my head. There's enough to go, yeah, he's autistic. Then by the second one, he published his book, which I'm holding here. And don't worry, I'm not going to be too spoilery, just in case you haven't seen it. But all the moments I'm about to talk about, they're not major plot points, but there's a bit at the beginning where Newt's brother hugs him, and Newt's like, nope. Newt's not fond on hugging. Then there's a bit where Newt's trying to be romantic towards Tina, and he's talking to Jacob about how he should speak about it, like he's not sure, he doesn't get it, and he relates it to the one thing that he does know about, animals. And I'm not going to say the specific thing he says, because if you haven't seen the film, it's one of the funniest things in the film, but he relates it to something that he knows, like what? It's like how I use Disney references and I use Jessie J quotes to explain things that I don't quite understand. I also got a much better sense of how much more blunt and direct Newt is. There's a scene towards the beginning of the film where the people from the ministry ask him, how come you want your international travel ban lifted? Newt replies in the same way I would, because I want to travel internationally. I can describe all these traits, or you can watch the films and gather what I mean, but for me, he's on the spectrum. If Eddie Redmayne believes he is, I think Eddie Redmayne would have quite a good idea, but I suppose the person that we need to... Well, there's one person that would know, J.K. Rowling. But this raises a question. Does J.K. Rowling know that he's autistic? What it seems like, that yes, Newt's character was established in the first one, but it's like extra autistic traits keep getting nudged in. So it would be a bit of a coincidence for J.K. Rowling to establish a character type and then to continue going down that route. It's a hard one to explain this. I just feel it would be so coincidental for just these traits and traits to keep stacking up on top of Newt. The question that I titled this is Newt Scamander Autistic? I believe yes. But the ultimate answer is no. Whether J.K. Rowling says so or Eddie Redmayne, no. These films are set in the 1920s. Autism wasn't a thing, so he definitely wouldn't be diagnosed. I don't know when it is Newt dies, because he's alive in The Prisoner of Azkaban, and that's 93, 94? something like that, because he's on the Marauders map. But still, I don't think it would be at the point where him as an adult would get diagnosed. But let's just assume that he is. If he is on the autistic spectrum, how incredible is that? The main star, well, that's arguable. You could say Dumbledore and Grindelwald, that's where it's at. Anyway, Newt Scamander is the face of Fantastic Beasts, a massive film series with loads of eyes on it. And if he is autistic, that's a lot of eyes on like, it's representation for us, isn't it? Like, whether people know it's autism or not, people getting used to these traits, and then if they would see them in an autistic person, they'd most likely be a lot more accepting because of these films. And the fact that he is an autistic character without the label of autism, it shows you how, for me, that's really empowering, because that's showing that you can have the person behind the autism even if the autism is like there. There are other characters that are rumoured to be autistic in the wizarding world, like Luna Lovegood. That wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. Or I've got a Lego figure of it, I can't be bothered. Whether he is autistic or whether he isn't, he's doing good for our community. And it fills me with such pride to see that kind of representation within something that I love so much. There's loads more to discuss on this, so in the comments, let's have it. Like, do you think my claims are absolutely ridiculous? Do you have further evidence? Put it in the comments. Please do avoid spoilers of the Crimes of Grindelwald. I don't think any of the spoilers in Crimes of Grindelwald are related to Newt. And let me know how you feel about it. Maybe you were like quite a lot of people who I know that when I've said this to them, they've been like, oh yeah, wait, no, that makes sense. Is it something you hadn't thought about, and now that I've given you the seed, you've gone, oh my god, yes? Wait, let's do this a bit more magically. I've been Connor Ward. You can find my social medias down here. You can subscribe up here. There is my website. Here is a video that YouTube recommends for you, and there is my last video, just in case you missed it. Thank you very much for watching. Nox.